Hello, everybody. Sorry for the delay on the start, but I can't seem to get the Patreon to go live. It's just one of those things. Patreon's way of doing live is just kind of a pain. So it throws me off. This time it was my own fault because I set the date too far in the future, and so when I went to fix it, it changed the stream key because it has a new stream key every minute. Nobody's ever going to accidentally stream to Patreon the wrong way. Oh boy. Well, patrons won't hear any of this. But Substack, how are you? What's going on? What's going on with the folks watching and listening in the other parts of the internet? Every time I go in and try to edit the Patreon to go live, it changes the stream key. So now I'm just sitting here waiting for the countdown to happen. I mean, you have video, Larry. You should see DTNS Live, the title card just sitting there. I'm waiting for Patreon to start before I take away the title card. So that is as intended. The Patreon not working is not as intended. Hello, folks on Substack. Yours is working just fine. Because you just go live as soon as the stream key notices something is live instead of having to push a button. So much simpler. 30 seconds until I think the Patreon Live will let me go live. I'll start that again. Why not? How's everybody else doing otherwise? I have to do it exactly right or it doesn't work, basically. And then recovering from not doing it exactly right, not very good. Obviously, they need me to test things because I break stuff a lot. All right, 2, 1, 0, let's see. Set up the live. It still doesn't see it. Oh, because it still thinks it's... All right, I'm just going to delete that live and start over. We'll just do the whole thing again. We'll go live right now this time. Go live now using another streaming source. That also means that I have to remove Patreon from the StreamYard streaming source. I mean, if this wasn't a tech stream, I wouldn't be doing any of this. All right, then I have to go into StreamYard Destinations and edit the DTNS Patreon. And you know, even though the URL shouldn't change, I'm going to change the URL too, just because. All right, I've edited that stream server. All right, I want to go live right now. I want to use another streaming source. I have to give it a title. To give it a description. That's certainly reasonable. Okay. That's all in there now. Go live now. Other streaming source. Paid access. Display chat. Okay. All right, now I need to add Patreon to StreamYard again. And it sees it! Yay! Okay. Hi, Patreon. You're late. You don't know you're late, but you're late. I won't go through this again for the sake of the people on Substack and watching live. But man, woo. If you don't set it up perfectly in the first time, that Patreon streaming is not forgiving. Hi, Cyber Spider, and welcome. I hope you're having a lovely day. And if you're not having a lovely day, I'm sorry to hear that. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Places, everyone, places. Oh no, G. James B., I'm sorry to hear that. All right, it is Mailbag Day. We are gonna bag some mail for you. That only took 6 minutes and 58 seconds to get here. Fantastic. All right, first mail comes, it's actually a post. Richard Talk to Me Guy wrote, "Holy carp! 12 years, mind blown emoji. Party hat, congratulations, party hat." Yeah, January 2nd, we'll be doing a CES preview episode, and that will be the official birthday of Daily Tech News Show, 12 years old. Tim Stevens was on that first show back in 2014, January 2nd, 2014. So yeah, 12 years, holy carp. Jason writes, "Hi, Tom. You sent me down a rabbit hole when you mentioned combining two antennas. Since I recently converted to an HD home run to feed my Plex server for live TV, I wanted the best signal for it. Then I read a random comment when I went to buy a splitter. Combining antennas can cancel each other out. Then the GPTs led me to this article on Channel Master. Might be worth checking to see if you can get your Fox back by removing one of the antennas. Also, have you found a use for your Samsung headset?" All right. So, first of all, great article. Thank you. We will have that in the show notes for folks. Let me put it up on the screen as well, about how you can, if you use two antennas and just a regular splitter, not a combiner, you can cause problems for many viewers of free over the air. It can do the thing I was talking about. It can reinforce the signal. Second sound, mechanically it is. You just need the blah, 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 possibly. Although adaptive equalizers in your digital TV receiver are quite powerful, you might have a problem with multipath echoes causing signal dropout when combining two antennas. It depends on the gain of the antennas you use, the compass angle between them, and the signal strength of your desired TV channels. We mentioned earlier that signal strength on log periodic Yagi TV antennas is maximized at the front. Imagine you are directly above this particular TV antenna looking down. You can see the antenna signal pattern. TV signals will be strongest at 0 degrees, dropping off by half, 30 and 330 degrees, and decreasing by an additional 9 decibels at 45 degrees. Maximum horizontal signal rejection with this antenna occurs at 70 degrees. If the secondary TV station you want to watch are located at 70, 120, 240, and 290, the equalizer circuits in your TV won't be taxed. The combining test is made even easier with UHF. So basically, the short version, if you didn't follow any of that, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, which is important to consider. I'm using antennas that have the same compass direction and the same basic design, so it shouldn't cause multipath. And you may say, well, if the same compass direction, that's your problem. Point it towards Fox. And the thing is, you just can't. We're in a situation where you just can't see Fox well enough unless you put the antenna up high, which I have not done. I have them in my windows. So there's just not a window that faces that way. So I have them both the same way, and they are reinforcing. Sad fact is, if I take away one of the antennas, Fox just doesn't show up. So it was worth a shot. I appreciate the attempt, and a good thing to know. If you do combine two antennas with a splitter, you could be hurting some. So you might want to check out this article a little closer. Thank you for that, Jason. That was really good. John Murray III said, I very much enjoyed the antenna conversation. While we have YouTube TV, I have climbed into the attic many times to try a different location, position, and antenna so we can connect it with Plex and our HD home run receiver. I'm using this episode to justify the efforts to my family, who worried every time I disappeared into the hot Florida attic. All right. Thank you, John Murray III. Yeah. Makes me, the fact that both of you use an HD home run, because this is the way human brains work. I'm like, ooh, 2 people using an HD home run. Maybe I should look into getting an HD home run again. I did have one. I had a Channel Master briefly. I think I ended up selling it or giving it to someone. I don't think I have it anymore. I'll have to look. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't have that anymore. I never had the HD home run though. All right. RW Nash, the Daily Tech News Show 15-ounce Christmas mug reviews continue. Really liking this and the art on both sides of the mug is a winner. More Daily Tech News Show US pint glass testing. Excellent with Scottish sours, but how does it fare with a fine Belgian blonde? TLDR, very well. And then Prelude, Beers of the Beano, post Spoon's Christmas lunch in the Tumble-In Pontypridd, still testing the Daily Tech News Show US pint glass, and the yellow warning of rain has now been canceled. Rugby today. So yeah, I love that Roger has just gone on to continue to do the reviews of various beverages and our mug. There he is with our mug here. I'll let you hear a little.
Is the Len art that you are seeing, I am seeing on my side of the mug as well. I think that's magnificent. It's magnificent art anyway.
More of the Christmas mug. Let's see. And then we've got more of the DTNS pint glass. You can change to that one. That's combining antennas. I already did that one. My copy paste did not work properly. There we go.
The Daily Tech News merch reviews continued. The Daily Tech News Show, pint glass.
And
8% alcohol by volume, 330 mils.
This is the fine Belgian blonde.
Tiny Rebel bottle opener.
I love these. And then there's a third. This is the one post Spoon's Christmas lunch.
Tipplers. Sorry about last week. There didn't seem to be a prelude to beers of this. This is the Daily Tech News Show, DTNS, US pint glass. And you can
Giving us such good exposure on the pint glass, RW Nash. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. I appreciate that very much. All right, let me catch up on chat here. Let's see what I've missed. I don't think Tim will be the first on the show of 2026, but I always intend to offer. You just watched that first episode of DTNS a month ago. Wow. I can't believe this guy is the one that I hear every day for the last 2 years. Yeah, a lot uglier in person, I know. Back when I had the fireplace, yeah. Thanks for the sub, Razin. Is satellite TV not a thing in the U.S.? No, satellite TV is a thing in the U.S. Why? Why do you ask, Nick? And it's not very expensive. Depending on what you mean. I think Larry says it is, but very expensive, meaning the big dish. But if you do like a DirecTV dish, it's not terribly expensive. In fact, it's quite affordable. Bill says, allow me to be the third HD home run user. Congratulations. You are the third HD home run user. If I were brave, I'd do a new hat review, but Tom has one and would do a better job. No, I would not. We need a Zoe Brings Bacon hat review. Hat review, hat review, hat review. KT Data. Tom is way cooler in person. Temperature-wise, I think is what he means. Amos! Good to see you. And Zoe's like, one of the coolest along with you. That I will back up. KT Data is also very cool in person, as is Amos. Oh, Ethan Kane gets to be the fourth HD home run user. The Quattro, to be specific. All right, carrying on with the emails. Vis-a-vis Plex and complexity. This emailer writes, I can't argue this is for enthusiast and above, but I love my Synology, NAS, and Plex is the only one of the benefits. I love my Synology NAS, network attached storage, and Plex is only one of the benefits. We have a multi-PC household, and they all back up to the server. My content goes beyond video, photos, audiobooks, music, etc. On Rob's comment on upgrading new drives, for video, use Handbrake to encode the files with H.265. If you have newer NVIDIA GPUs, use the specific codec for it. Going from H.264 to 265 can shrink most files by 70 to 80%. This will stave off running out of capacity. I mean, it won't keep it from ever happening, but it definitely 70 to 80%, that's going to stave it off. Good stuff. I don't recall who this is from. Maybe they wish to remain anonymous, but usually I note that when they do. So let me just look at this. Oh, no, it's Bill. Bill didn't want to remain anonymous. He put his name right on it. I just forgot. Bill Shields. Thank you, Bill. All right. We also got a bunch of comments from Dan in Bellevue, Nebraska, who's catching up on a bunch of shows. Comment 0. Thanks again for another great year of tech news. I hope to continue to listen to you and the rest of the wider team for years to come. Well, thank you, Dan. Comment 1. Regarding the RAM price, reminded me of something from my high school years. I graduated in 1989 from Columbus High School in Columbus, Nebraska. My father got me into computers at an early age. So by the time high school was ending, I had an IBM PS2 Model 3286. I think it's buried, but I have one too. Keyboard's up there. Mouse is up there. Anyway, yes, that's the one. That's the one to get. Anyway, PS2, IBM PS2 Pride. As my computer for college. That's when I got mine too. While on a trip with my dad that summer, we heard about a fire in a large RAM facility in Taiwan. We had been on the fence about upgrading to a full megabyte of RAM, but this was incentive that we made a long-distance call from my uncle's house in Oregon to call my mom in Nebraska to buy the 1 megabyte RAM upgrade from Walmart that night before the prices skyrocketed. What goes around comes around. Comment 2. The Friday podcast talk about the Google Gemini meeting. Jason attended and talking about the release and why they were released. You made the humorous content that their first release was the panic release because they were seen as being behind everyone else in the industry. I was glad to hear that. I was glad to hear that jab on your podcast, but I realized that your professionalism would have never uttered that in their press conference or other official meetings with them. My question to you, since you are a trained journalist, in the current political world where journalists have been made fun of by some politicians over the past 10 years, quiet piggy or physically mocking a disabled reporter, I've heard people suggest that other journalists in the room need to stand up and walk out when an inappropriate comment is made. How do you think you would react? Or maybe more importantly, how would you ask other journalists to react in those situations? That may be entirely too political for an on-air response, but if it's something that you and Justin Robert Young end up conversing about on Politics, please keep me informed. As always, thanks for the great shows. Looking forward to what 2026 will present to all of us. Your comment kind of takes a right turn in there. Or a left turn. I actually was not trying to make a political statement by picking the direction of the turn. Because you say you probably wouldn't say that in a press conference or other official meeting with them. Yeah, I might. Depends. It depends on my relationship with the press people. I don't do a lot of those meetings. Jason does a lot of those meetings. I don't. But I do try to be polite to people. And so I'm not going to make a jab unless I have that kind of relationship with the person. If I'm doing a press meeting with Rafe Needleman, who I, go back decades with, I might make a jab like that because he'll know I'm joking. And he'll get at it. If I've developed a good relationship or the person has a good sense of humor and I can tell, maybe I'll make it as a ha-ha. But really, what does it achieve if I make that jab to them? Either I'm trying to get them to address that concern, in which case I'll have a better result if I don't make it a jab and say, hey, people are saying it was a bit of a panic release. What do you say to that? When you're in a journalistic setting, it's a different situation. You're not trying to convince or you're not trying to express your opinion to someone. You're trying to get them to give you information. And so I think it's important to say whatever it is that will get them to give you the information you're after. That's what journalism is about, which is why I don't like to do these kinds of meetings, because I don't like to do that. I don't like to have to cajole and massage to get information. Lots of people do. This is why I sometimes don't consider myself a journalist in the proper sense, even though I went to journalism school, because I just don't like to do that kind of interpersonal relationship management that a lot of journalists do like to do. So there's that part of your question. The other part is like, if somebody says something bad, and I know what you're talking about, should a journalist stand up for them, etc.? I really don't have a good answer to that. In polite society, in regular society, if someone's picking on somebody, yes, I would say, hey, stop picking on that person. If that person has a gun, I might not. It all depends on the situation. But I'm going to, as much as possible, with the safety of everyone concerned, say, hey, you know what? Cut it out. And again, it depends on the relationship of people. If these two people are friends and they trade jabs all the time, gosh, my brother and his husband said horrible things to each other, and I never tried to stick up for them because I knew they were kidding. That was their way of saying things. They weren't hurt by them. They were having fun saying, these crazy things. Sometimes it's just the way they communicated. When I say horrible too, your imagination is going to make it much worse than it was. Just funny things, right? You know what I mean? And in this situation that Dan's talking about, that is not what was going on. This was not two people who had that kind of relationship. So should you stand up and say, hey, that's not okay? Yes. But when you're a journalist, you now risk not being able to cover the thing you're assigned to cover if you do that. So you're not just being an average person. I think people lose sight of this a lot. When you're a journalist assigned to cover government, your job is to be able to find out as much about the government as possible. And if what you're doing there would compromise that, you have to balance that. Is it going to do enough good to compromise my ability to do my job? Then yes. If it's not going to do enough good, maybe no. And maybe the person that you would stick up for would say, no, I don't want you to do that either. It's a very complex situation. And what I've said so far doesn't even go 1% towards answering it. But it's very different than being in a tech briefing. Like, these are two entirely different situations. Being in a tech briefing where I might go like, oh, that first Gemini was a panic release or not. Totally different situation than the president of the United States saying something that you believe was inappropriate. And how should you react to that if you're the White House correspondent? Thankfully, I will probably never be a White House correspondent. I don't intend to, and you have to work really hard to become one. So I'm pretty safe in saying that. Good question though, Dan. And I'm sorry I don't have a more comprehensive answer for you. All right. Let's see. Go back to the chat. Plex lifetime user running on a Synology NAS, says Amos. Paolo loves his Synology NAS, but not in love with it, just to be clear. First time watching for a while. Is Sarah still part of the team? Yes, you will see Sarah on Thursday on DTNS Live, and you will see, or I guess you'll hear her on DTNS on Wednesday. You'll also see her on Live With It on Wednesday. You'll hear her on Daily Tech Headlines on Saturday. So there you go. That's the answer to that question. We just don't do DTNS Live the same way we used to every day. But welcome, Renard Rock. Good to see you. Does it count that I have an HD home run, but I'm not using it? Absolutely. Absolutely counts. You get to count. Darren was on the second episode, January 3rd. That's right. Let's see. Almost another hashtag Tom. Oh, because of my channel master, I guess. Fun fact, the IBM PS2 introduced a new port for keyboards and mice, thereafter called the PS2 port. Thus, the PS2 name continued way longer than the computer itself. And I have my original IBM PS2 mouse with the aforementioned PS2 port. It was the standard for mouse and keyboard until USB knocked it out of the race. But yeah, there it is. my keyboard is around here somewhere. I think it's up here too, but I can't see it. So I'm not going to pull everything down on top of me to try to find it. Oh, we have so many HD home run users. This is great. Jason, another HD home run user. Whenever ATSC 3 gets sorted out, you should give over the air another shot. I'm giving over the air a shot. I use over the air. I have an antenna. I just don't have an HD home run at the moment. You're welcome. And I have had an item within reach 94 times. For some, it is still the standard. Really? Are there people using PS2 mouses in large numbers? I mean, yeah, if you're using an really old computer, but I doubt there's that many of them. I felt old yesterday. Someone on Reddit asked why it's C drive and not the A drive. Oh, they didn't know about floppy disks. All right, back. Actually, Renadrock, this actually pertains right to your question, funnily enough. Back to the emails. Ryan says, I miss hearing Sarah on the regular DTNS shows as frequently as before. Not to say I don't have anything but love for the co-hosts, Rob, Jury, etc. They are awesome. I'm just used to and really enjoy Tom and Sarah hosting together. Hope you all are enjoying your holidays. Yes, that will happen once again on DTNS Live. Well, it'll happen on DTNS Wednesday. It'll happen on DTNS Live on Thursday. PS2 doesn't put load on the CPU. Oh, right, because it's not using the USB thing. Yeah, but the load that a USB mouse puts on the CPU is not much. How about cassette discs? Oh, yeah. Cassette players, man. No, they're not discs. Or you're talking about like jazz drives and zip drives. Anyway. The LinkedIn article is up. We're going to have to show this. You may recall Bill wrote in and we read his email about being in the TI instructor camp and then becoming an assistant instructor himself. Well, he has created a wonderful illustrated version of his story that he posted on LinkedIn. So here, let me put this link in the chat, and then you can click it and link to yourself. I'll have it in the show notes as well. But he's got like screenshot of the Programming for Poets book that he mentioned, picture of the TI-99-4A. He actually put his ID badge up there. I'll scroll past that quickly, Bill. But yeah, it's a cool story. He not embellished. Embellished makes it sound like he made stuff up. He expanded it a little bit from what you read. So there's some other things in there. He thanked me and his friend Greg for encouraging him to post the tale. So yeah, go check it out. It was very cool. It was lovely to see that, and lots of people commenting in there and talking about it. Good stuff. Very good stuff. All right. Thank you, Bill, for sending that along. That's Bill S. Now we've got Bill R. We were talking about the Big Boy hamburger, Bob's Big Boy, and how the Big Mac was a ripoff. Was a knockoff, let's say, of the Bob's Big Boy burger. Bill wrote, I got motivated to look into it. Big Boy began as Bob's Pantry in 1936 by Bob Wien in Glendale, California. I think it was in Burbank, but maybe the pantry was originally in Glendale. Anyway, there he assembled his special double-decker hamburger created as a joke for a customer wanting something different. The novel hamburger began drawing in business. The snappy name given to the popular sandwich provided a new name for his restaurant, Bob's Big Boy. The restaurant became known as Bob's Drive-Ins, Bob's, home of the Big Boy hamburger, and commonly as Bob's Big Boy. The Big Boy name, design, aesthetic, and menu were previously licensed to a number of similarly named regional franchises. McDowell's Big Boy, North Dakota, independently as Big Boy Drive-In 1960 on, was founded by Harley McDowell. A trademark infringement suit against McDowell was filed by Wien in 1959, ultimately resulting in a franchise agreement. Operations exclusively as a drive-through. McDowell's name was dropped, and the remaining store is now called the Bismarck Big Boy. Along with Big Boy hamburgers, the single restaurant sells flying pizza burgers and French fries by the pound with chicken gravy. So yeah, that all jives with what I read on the menu, the Bob's Pantry thing. Although I remember them saying it on the menu that it was Bob's Pantry in Burbank, but maybe it was actually in Glendale. They're right next to each other. And then the Big Boy was actually the name for someone who worked at Bob's Pantry. He couldn't remember his name, so he called him Big Boy. And then they used that nickname for the burger, apparently. So there you go. Now you're all hungry. And let me see. Maybe they have the menu copy on the restaurant website. History. Let's see. Bob's Restaurant was built in 1949 and is the oldest remaining Big Boy. This is about the actual Bob's Big Boy location. This is a history of that location. It doesn't have the Big Boy story. Here, this is what's on the menu. He bought a 10-stool lunch stand called The Pantry. And there's an old shot of the pantry when they had invented the Big Boy burger, but had not moved to locations. One late night, a regular customer asked for something different. Bob split the bun twice through the middle, creating a middle bun, added 2 burger patties, and the rest is history, the double-deck hamburger. The name came from a chubby 6-year-old doing odd jobs at the time by the name of Richard Woodruff. One day, Bob forgot his name and called out, "Hey, Big Boy." Something clicked, and a name was born. Bob's Big Boy. The Big Boy hamburger. There you go. It doesn't say anything about Burbank, so I just imagine that. It must have been in Glendale, like you said. All right, back to reality. Nick says, it's true on my PC. I assume you're talking about mouse load from the USB. That's interesting. A and B were for program and file, 1 floppy in each. I use P for personal. Back in 1980, the media for some computers were cassette tapes. In fact, I think one of these cassette tapes, no, it's not. I was going to say one of those cassette tapes was my TI programs, but it's not. They're over there somewhere. Ooh, Renadrock has started cooking his own smash burgers. Love a smash burger. Chubby Decker is an Atlanta chain. Ah, that's great. McDowell's did exist. It wasn't just a made-up place in Coming to America. Ignore that a 6-year-old was doing odd jobs. Hey, it was 1936. Things were different. Back when 6-year-olds were in the workforce. Shoney's used to be a franchise of Big Boy. I didn't know that. We had Shoney's around where I was growing up, but I don't remember that. I do remember Big Boys, but not Shoney's Big Boys. Nick with a C says another near miss. Fine. Let's make it not be a near miss. I will keep talking loudly and see if my headphone extension cord will last, because I know exactly where they are. I just don't know if I can reach them with this cord. I'm going to have to untangle it to get there. Oh, I can. Wow. You know what? It's going to be funnier if I just bring the whole thing with me. So, this is my grandfather's trunk that he carried around with him all across the Midwest before he got married. And I keep a lot of computer stuff in here. All right. Let's see. We've got Micro League Baseball for the Commodore 64. On floppy. Radio Cart, originally from KPUB Pueblo. All right. Let's see. There's a lot of cassettes in here. And a lot of radio carts. And a lot of floppies, too. Okay. Ah, yes. It's on a DAC. A good old-fashioned DAC cassette. DAK Industries. Ooh, here's a nice Sertron. I'm trying to find one with actual computer stuff on it. That one said Source 1, but I'm not sure that that was actual Source. WGEL air check. Okay. I've got a Sega Genesis Sonic 2 and Sonic on Spinball. Tom's tape. Ooh, that's a lot of cassettes. You know, I'm gonna add the extra camera. What is this? Oh, it's Micro League Baseball for the PC. Just, that's a lot of cassettes. One of those cassettes probably does have stuff. That's a Maxell cassettes. Yeah. Anyway. That's enough looking at cassettes for now, don't you think? Epic Games, Winter Games. I don't know why these baseball cards are in here. I guess when I was moving, they just fit. There was some space. Now I've got to go figure out the puzzle that I had going on that allowed me to fit all this stuff in here. I think I got it. Okay, yes. Real rope handle. I can just put this down here for now. Epics, not epic, sorry. EPYX. Well, that was fun. I don't know if it was good content, but I'm going to have to go look through those cassettes again here in a second when I have some time. Labeled source 1 of 5. Please insert the next cassette. On this week's episode of Hoarders. Yeah, that's a lot of data. That's probably a megabyte of data in that big old thing right there. Let me tell you. You know what I should have? Well, I wouldn't have had a mic. I was like, I should have taken the camera over there. That's what I should have done. Well, that's all I got for today. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out for the mailbag. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I sure did. We will be back again with Live With It tomorrow. I believe that tomorrow's Live With It is the Linux on a Surface PC with Rich Stroffolino. So check that out. That will stream live at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll have a new DTNS in your feeds with Sarah Lane. Thursday is DTNS Live, and Friday is the Hangout. And since yesterday, I have confirmed Scott Johnson to join me for the Hangout on Friday. So come on by for that at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific as well. So the Bees is going to make a mint when Tom kicks the bucket. Maybe I should make a mint now. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.